What is up, my peeps? This is such a powerful training, and it is something that I have worked through myself personally, and it is clearing the block to receiving money. I'm going to get right into it. We're going to do a commitment cleanse around this very specific stress node, and it may, come from different beliefs, stories, and attachments for each of us. What I'm going to do is walk you through my personal commitment cleanse, and then you can take these steps and put them into practice by identifying what your belief, attachment, or story was to blocking receiving money specifically. And I am going to pop right in, noticing, okay? This is the first step. The first step is simply becoming aware. So for me, for so many years, every single time I received money in any form, whether it was in exchange for my services, a paycheck, a gift, taking money out of my own savings account and moving it into a checking account. No matter what the scenario was, every single time I received money in any form, I would notice that I would feel guilty and sad. And my brain would spin thoughts like, oh my God, you better pay this back. You don't want to owe anyone anything. If it was like in service, I was giving my services, you better over deliver. You are now subservient to this person who is giving you money. You better serve them no matter what. Taking it out of my own savings and putting it in checking. It's going to run out. You better get it back. You better put it back. You shouldn't have done that. So it blocked, right? It blocking all this receiving. So noticing, wow, every time I receive money, I spin these thoughts, and these thoughts, like I feel guilty, I feel sad. It doesn't feel good. Where is that coming from? So that was really the next question is like, where is that coming from? And then sitting with that and starting to kind of feel around that and just be with that and ask the question. Ask the question. It's not for us to figure out. So it's like, let me ask, where is this coming from? Is this even mine? And just holding that space and being able to receive a divine answer. And over a series of dreams, both in my awake and dream state, I started to receive these images, these intense images of perhaps in somewhere along my ancestry of being enslaved, of being stripped of power, of being in a relationship with a family that had money and power who enslaved perhaps my family. And what I started to feel from these images was this intense, for generations, a story of you don't want to owe anyone anything. And my interpretation of that was then, oh, if I take money, I'm enslaved and it robs me of my freedom, so I better not take any money. I just had to sit with that. I mean, I get emotional just thinking about it, even just now, like it coming out and working through and healing on it. But even just to say that it's emotional. It's powerful to see, wow. I'd rather be free and broke is the belief that I took on. And so every time I did receive money, my brain went right to this place of you're now enslaved. So if you take money, you're enslaved. And if you don't receive money, you're free, but you're broke. So what I then started to process through is then looking at that and going, how does that make me feel? Is this what I really want? Like, I really want to feel free. And I can now see that being broke doesn't make me feel free. And what if I really want is to feel free and to feel expansive and to feel like, when I give because I want to, not because it's a tit for tat. So I am enslaving myself with this belief. So I'm like, okay, so now I know what I really want, and I see how these beliefs don't serve me. I also saw where they came from. And then it was asking myself, can I step up as a conscious, divine being and heal this for my family? And then I started to ask more questions. So now you get curious. You go into a state of wonderment and play, and you go, what is possible here? What is possible here? What do I want? I want to feel better. I want to feel better, and it makes me feel really excited and really good to think that I could heal this for my entire family line. Everybody after me doesn't have to carry this ancestral thing. So I'm like, oh, what is the possibility? Let me explore. This is so, and that in and of itself shifts. You start to shed that dark energy physiologically, right? When you meet this dark fear with curiosity, it lightens you. So even as you're going through the process, you start to heal. So it's simply just asking the question, so what is possible here? What came through? What came through for me was just the word forgiveness. It was like forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. And I started to go in and just say, these families at this time in history, whenever it was, they were all just doing the best they could with what they knew. They operated from those societal norms out of fear. And our family was just as much responsible in that sacred contract to be enslaved as it was for the family to have enslaved. And it all showed up perfectly so that generations after, I could rise up and heal it. So it was like coming to that place of forgiveness by simply saying, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, universe, for bringing it up in resistance for me to see. I'm so honored that I get to heal this. I'm so excited that, and then I was like, wow, that is freedom. Forgiveness is liberating. And then I just said, okay, what's next? What else is possible? And then it was like, Archangel Michael, boom, help me cut the cords to these old beliefs that if you take money, then you are a bitch, that you are subservient, that you are enslaved. Can you cut these cords, right, to these ancestral beliefs that really came from fear, that really came from what the times were, that, fearing people with money, which has played itself out. I could see so clearly now over the generations, but just now asking, cut the cords to those beliefs, fearing people with money and hating them for the perception that they can take away our freedom. That's not true. So cut the cords. And then what came through for me is like, wow, you know what? Actually, there's nothing to fear. Actually, receiving is the safest thing. Receiving is the most spiritual act, right? And then I started to call in, and I looked at Lakshmi, the deity of abundance. And she, in the temples in India, is adorned and worshipped and glorified, and days on end are in her honor. And she is abundance. She is flowing with riches and prosperity, and she receives it all in grace and gives it all back, and it is beautiful. And she is free. She is free, right? So I started to then see, oh my gosh, you know what? This is a blessing, right? You're free when you receive. You're free. You're safe when you receive. Because receiving, specifically receiving money, gives you choices, and it amplifies your ability to give. It gives you more opportunity to give. I was like, oh my God, it's actually like the most spiritual act. Like, does that feel good? So the next thing is, now you're in this state of wonderment, and you're processing this, and it's exciting, and it gets to be easy and fun because it just starts to flow in. And then it's like, okay, so now what is the new belief? What is the new action, right? What is the new, what feels really true? Sorry, I don't know why I got so dark here, but you guys could still hear me. What feels true? And then that's the alignment. That's the aligned action. That's then noticing again in your body, like, are you able to embody this new feeling? So for me, I journaled through this. I can look through, show you like through my old journal here, and I journaled through this. And then what came up for me was literally, if I was just to read straight out of my journal here, receiving is the most spiritual act because it honors that we are the divine reflection of source energy of God, right? And worthy of receiving it all, right? Freeing us to give to our soul's deepest expression and heart's joy. And that felt really good to me, and it does. Like, of course I receive because I am so worthy, and I get excited to let it all flow in, knowing that I can give at a greater degree. So the new belief is, I am now consciously committed to getting and being so excited to receive money, knowing that it gives me freedom and safety, and it allows me to, like, as it flows in, allowing me to, in my light, I am now in the light, I am receiving, I see all possibilities to give even greater. Receiving is it's the most enlightening spiritual act, is what I choose to believe. So that's a commitment cleanse, right? It's going in, it's seeing where there's that stress node, becoming aware of it by noticing its body sensations, and then starting to get curious. The second you move from constriction and fear energy, which keeps you locked, and the second you open up to receive, the second you open up to ask, is the second you start to transmute. And on the other side of this stress node is healing and unleashing your gift. So for me, it was like blocking my ability to receive money. And now I notice it if it comes in and I'm like, I received money, and I go right to I start to feel the guilt. I'm like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, universe. Thank you for showing me. I see where this is coming from. Okay, sweet Diane, all you want is to feel free. All you want is to feel safe. And here's what we know. Receiving is the safest thing. It brings you into the light. It frees you by giving you opportunity and possibility. And I just move through it. Boom, 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 which just opens up more. Right? But again, With a commitment cleanse, it starts with just stepping into a place of curiosity, because you meet that fear with creation, curiosity, energy, and the fear melts. And that is a commitment cleanse. And that is specifically around the stress node of releasing or dissolving or lifting or cleansing from the block in receiving money. Boom.